Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, David Williams. Make sure to check us out, guys, on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. And as always, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you.
You can also check out battleviewer.com for the same Twitch chat you know and love, plus easy access to our YouTube, Twitter, match listings, match standings, and fantasy now that the regular season has begun.
That is right, you guys. So go over there to battleviewer.com and check it out. Now, before we get started, David, the WCA is going on. Noble and High Voltage have both advanced. Talk about that.
All right, so we out of 4 brackets, our teams were only in 2 of them, so we'll just cover those in the meantime.
Great.
And in case you want to look at more details, this is all on fantasywgl.com. Top right, WCA. So Na'Vi faced High Voltage to start out. Na'Vi won 5-1. Then they faced Yado, won 5-0.
Nice.
High Voltage faced Yado, won 5-3. So Na'Vi and High Voltage advanced out of Group D.
Yeah.
So 1 team in. Then Noble faced Kongdu, and they won 5-4. Then they faced Karen Tiger, and they won 5-2.
Killing it.
Kongdu faced Karen Tiger and won 5-3. So Kongdu and Noble advance as well. So we're 2 for 2 so far. Noble squares off against EL Gaming again. So if you watch the Rumble, it's a rematch.
Little rematch.
This time, maybe they'll be a little bit less tired. So I'm hoping our boys can pull it out. And then High Voltage should be facing Wombats. So there's a chance that both of these guys can, both teams can go and possibly obtain one of the top 3 prizes, where the top prize is 1.2 million RMB.
Go over there.
Something like $240,000.
A lot of money on the line, guys. So go over and wish them luck. Now, before we get on to what's going on tonight, let's take a look at what happened on Tuesday. Up first, we had Color Wanted beating Ping 5-0, followed by Aquatic M60s losing to 07, 3-5. Third, WGLNA beating Googlybobbers 5-1, and finally Simple Tankers losing to Eclipse 3-5. Let's go through these matches. Up first, Color Wanted 5-0 Ping. Started out in Runeberg. The longer they played, the closer Ping got to beating Color Wanted, but went on to Sand River, where Color Wanted was on defense. They cleaned him out. Some of the highlights you saw from that match.
Color Wanted turning over a new leaf. I mean, they already had a lot of talent on their team, but they brought in Aggressor, who I believe is taking some role in the calling. So, as we said before, perhaps Color obtained. I'd also like to point out he got 60 points per battle in his first set here in Tier 10. So Color Wanted
welcome to Tier 10.
Stepping it up quite a bit. And Ping, even with Sheep back, not really finding their pacing yet.
Sure. Up next, we had 07 versus Aquatic. We started out on steps, where Aquatic actually went up 3-0 to 07, but then 07 came back, 1-1 on steps, went into mines, won another 4, winning 5 in a row there, cleaning out that match. Some of the things you saw from that second map.
Aquatic had a very well-prepared steps plan, and 07
Absolutely
struggled on it quite a bit, but they got that one win they needed.
Like, oh, we can do this!
To make sure if they swept the next map that they would win overall without going to a tiebreaker, and 07 just dominated on mines 4-0. That was more what I expected from 07 the whole time. Not necessarily a full domination, but the caliber of play they had there. So while I think Aquatic played well on steps, they didn't quite play as well as they could have on mines.
Sure.
But it was a good match either way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Up next, our third match was WGLNA versus Googly. Ding beating them 5-1. Started out on mines. Ding ran that spread defense that we saw them play. Worked once. Googly did pick up 1, but then we went on to Mervanka, where then the rest of the games went over to WGLNA. Some of the things that you saw from that third match.
WGLNA definitely picking up the pace with their added new player. I believe it's Supra is doing some of the calling and was playing quite well. Another one of those people who's kind of a high point earner in their first debut here on WGLNA. And Googly, even with Dr. Halo on the team, didn't quite really bring it together the way that I think we all hoped and expected they would. So I'm not ruling them out yet, but right now they're not quite at a threat level or finding their pacing yet.
Right, maybe just give them a little more time to the season, find things to do, find things not to do, and they might be working out. Now, finally, we had Simple Tankers versus Eclipse. Now, this is the game we were really excited to see. We put a couple members on Simple, a couple on Eclipse, or 1 on Eclipse. We both thought that Simple would win it at the end of the day. Eclipse came back, beat them 5-3. Started out in Prorovka, tied up 2-2, so pretty even there. Then we went on to Mines, where Simple was only to pick up 1 victory, and Eclipse came out, beat him out 5-3. Some of the things you saw from that final match.
I expected this match to have a result of 5-2 or 5-3. But either way it went.
Okay, right.
Because I figured whoever got the lead would probably close it out, then wouldn't go to a tiebreaker. That's how I saw it. But I expected Simple Tankers to be that team. And in this instance, I believe the M40, M43 they brought on mines.
Twice.
Those were 2 critical games. And that's the 2 that Eclipse had to win. So I'm still not sold on it, even with Executives putting up an incredible amount of damage on it in one game.
5,000.
For example, Tigers took one directly to the face, but didn't die. It was well over 1,000 damage.
Kept going.
And he ended up racking up a whole lot of additional damage there, so
yeah,
still just not a fan of it.
All right, guys. Well, that was what happened on Tuesday. Before we get into tonight's matchup, we got to remind you guys to go over to fantasywgl.com, or if you're on battleviewer.com, which you guys should be right now, push that button on the bottom right-hand corner, and that'll pull up the fantasy menu. You guys build your 7 players to accumulate points for you guys as the night goes on. Points lead to tons of prizes, such as in-game premium time, in-game gold, and in-game premium tanks like the Hype 59. So go over there again and check that out and sign in. It's free and free prizes. Also remind you guys that we are partnering with Vulcan. So go to vulcan.com and you guys can do their WGLNA competition. Again, use the code word World of Tanks to go ahead and win prizes there. But now back to fantasy. What you guys are seeing on the bottom of your screen are David and I's picks for these 5 matches tonight's points. David, who are your top members? We had a little bit of roster changes, so did that switch anything up for you?
Yeah, somewhat. I actually switched my pick for Delph out with Aggressor after reviewing the points a little bit more.
Huh.
I typically like to play it safer with the new additions, but Aggressor performs so well.
Killed it.
I find it unlikely that he's going to underperform in future matches.
Okay.
He's definitely going to be a starter. And Delph had a ping problem that caused him to log out one day. So there's a little bit of shaky trust there. Anyways, my number 1 pick is Vetro. Number 1 lead in points per battle.
Yep.
From people who've been around all season, there are 2 people that sniped it from him. Aggressor's one of them. But they only have 1 set. And Vetro, overall, is very likely going to beat Ox Mathis in overall points and points per battle tonight. He is 1 game behind Ox.
200 points, right? Something like that?
It's about 200 points now,
Yeah.
and he's earning well over that. And even if they 5-0 their opponent, which I find unlikely, he would still break Ox's record, and they would be equal time or equal game to game. So I think Vetro is probably the number 1 pick in the league at the moment.
That's exactly who I have picked on mine. Over 1,300 points right now. I'm expecting him to, take over Ox Mathis, build up a lot of points, hopefully keep me going up on that fantasy. Also picking up Master Putin from Ding. Watching him play on Tuesday, he was doing amazing work in that bat chat, getting around, farming a lot of points up there. So I'm hoping that he can kind of get that one for me also. Now, is there anyone that you were expecting? We saw Pride. Both of us put Pride on our last time. He didn't quite work out for us. And it's always that moment. Anything can happen in fantasy. You can be like, oh, you're doing great. One person doesn't play, ruins everything for you. But that, I guess, is just the nature of fantasy. Guys, go over there again, put your points, get tons of prizes, and check out what's happening tonight. We have 5 matches for you guys. Up first, Yo versus Googlybobbers, followed by Eclipse versus Ping. Third is going to be WGLNA versus Simp. And finally, Color Wanted versus 07. We are having a 5th match that is not going to be broadcasted, and that is Aquatic M60s versus Simp. So again, 5 matches for you guys tonight. 10 teams playing, so that's even more things you kind of accumulate on fantasy. But David, out of the 4 matches that we are broadcasting, which one do you think you're most looking forward to, and who do you think is going to take it?
It's Aquatic M60s versus Simple Tankers.
Simple Tankers. Simple Tank, yeah.
Out of them all, I'd have to go with Color Wanted versus 07. In my mind, Color Wanted is very similar to 07 from last season. Now, 07 has a season of veterancy under their belt.
Sure,
but there are a lot of parallels there. And I think this is going to be Color Wanted's latest test to see how well they've developed in their overall meta and how well they've found their flow as a team.
Okay.
And I'm looking to see if 07 can handle kind of a young blood without a whole lot of experience under him. Or, I'll put it this way. It's a proving moment for both teams.
All right. No, I totally agree. We were talking about this a little bit before the show started, too. I'm excited to see what both of these teams are going to bring to it. Color Wanted doing a great job so far, going up against some of the tougher teams. It seems like they learned a lot from that and have now been applying it to the teams that are more in their range. So we'll see if 07 is one of those teams that are in their range or if they'll continue their victories. Guys, let us know what you guys are thinking to happen again before we start. Go to Fantasy so you can get those final points and you guys can win all those prizes. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for our pregame show. Don't go anywhere. Match number 1 coming right up.
reload, then I'll fix it and get my max reload. But you're playing with fire, and you could be risking it.
Whoa, Taco Soldier getting lit up right there by almost every member of Yo.
In the meantime, Simp is going to come in flank with the two AMX 50Bs. Blue Boys is waiting for it, and Ant is there to somewhat support him, but Blue Boys will be at risk when all these guys show up, and this could start tilting very, very hard back into Sim's hands momentarily.
Now, this is not an area on the map that we see a lot of fights going on. It looks like it's going to be Blue Boys Captain David, like you said, getting lit up, 25 points of damage. He gets taken out almost immediately. Overload Prime finding that kill. Beautiful focus fire for Simp.
Actually, Crimson Corsair probably can as well, but
he's set on fire.
Trying to stop out of sight right now. 15 seconds left on cap. Crimson Corsair is driving into death at worst, death and a reset at best. It's all on his shoulders again, and Eclipse has made a brilliant play to try and bring this home.
It does not matter what is happening over on the north. What only matters right now is if Crimson can get this reset. He gets annihilated before he can even get a shot up, and that looks like it's gonna be it, as Adroxus is not gonna have enough time. The cap is at 0. Eclipse has the victory. Super healthy up on top. Oxteep is in trouble there. He's bouncing a lot of shots right there, giving time for wall hacks to come up and join the fight. First shot there going to Adroxus, and now we got a little bit of spread out of sight. It's and Ryan, it's all facing off against Summoners High Voltage over the south, the rest in the north there. Oxteep looks like he's going to be going down. One more shot. Anthony going through. David, what are you seeing?
He's going hull down on the backside of wall hacks as ST1. That is just incredible. Ox is getting so much support.
Around the fallen tanks. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a very tight battle. This might be Yo's opportunity to pick up a victory on the high voltage. Will high voltage give it to him? Blue Boys captain onto Full Cross. That shot just now missing, and 318 goes into Blue Boys. Blue Boys is loaded. 358 going into him. A high roll here from Full Cross. Might be able to know. 323. Now it's going to be back and forth. It looks like Blue Boys captain might be able to take this one. No, the shot bounces, or he just missed it into the side, but Blue Boys bounces as well. A crazy battle here going back and forth, and Full Cross taking down Blue Boys. What a 1v1. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left is David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. If you guys are watching this on BattleViewer.com, go over there right now and check it out. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you and also answer for us the question of the day.
Which tier 10 medium do you think is the best?
Okay, so far, watching what these guys play, doing a little bit of research, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Object 140. Super high DPM, very mobile tank. We're kind of talking for the show. It does a lot. There's a lot of really awesome things that this tank can do. So my pick is the Object 140. David, how about you?
I'd have to agree with you there. I think it's the best one overall, but I have a certain place in my heart for the STB.
Okay. And you also have the new tank that was coming out that potentially might...
Yeah, the Czech tank could be amazing. I haven't got my hands on it yet, though.
Right, and that'll be interesting to see. Guys, let us know what you think is the best Tier 10 medium tank on Twitter. And before we get into our first match of the night, let's take a look at the standings as we end out our third week of this Season 2 Gold League. Up top, still Noble. First place followed closely by High Voltage. Again, they haven't played. They are at the WCA. 07 now is in third, followed by Color Wanted Yo down at the bottom. So we've got DingNA, Ping999, and Googlybobbers. Now, David, 07 is on track if they win tonight and win on Tuesday to take first place, potentially, correct?
They could, yes.
And that'll be a very interesting thing to see if they can take that and then hold that all the way as the season, or if Noble and High Voltage get back, if they'll be able to kind of fight back for that one. But that is not, that is then. This is now, ladies and gentlemen, Yo versus Googlybobbers. On the side of Yo, we have lost that love and feeling. On the side of Googly, Viral. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. Now, Yo, going to go ahead and start out with you guys. You guys right now are in fourth place in the standings overall in the season. Congratulations for that. My question is, looking in, is that something that really motivates you guys as you go into these battles? Is it like, really looking at, we go to fourth and maybe third, or do you guys really just focus on the match at hand?
Yeah, the latter, definitely. We don't care at all about what's happening right now. Like the prior matches, learning experiences, obviously, from the two Noble and High Voltage matches. So moving forward is just progression. Like we said from off the bat, it's pretty much learning what we need to learn to move forward for the hopefully to make it to the playoffs.
Sure, yeah. And as far as that kind of mentality goes, you focus on now, and if you go bump up the standings, well, that's just a bonus.
On that topic, how much do you think that those matches against Noble and High Voltage actually helped you?
Quite a bit. Like I said, theory of elimination. You try ideas out, they don't work. So by default, what type of meta you need to run, what type of strategy is actually going to be advantageous to actually winning these types of matches. Like I said, WGLNA this tournament base is new to us. So it's just if we can eliminate some thought processes and actually try to fine tune some others.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you so much for that one, Lost. Now, Viral, over to you guys. So far in the season, the opponents that you guys have been facing off against, at the end of the night, after you guys are done, are you guys seeing things that these teams do that you want to apply to yourselves, or is it kind of the things that you know that you guys need to work on and just getting better at that?
For us, it's a lot of more just correcting the mistakes that we've been doing.
Sure.
So far this season, going into the season, we were doing very well, but then we come into the matches and then we started struggling. And for us, we need to identify problems, come up with solutions, try those solutions, and if it's not work, then try and find another solution, then just keep on going. Right now for us, we just need to, what previously happened doesn't matter. It's all about what happens tonight, what we need to get done, and we just need to go in and start winning.
All right, I like it. Best of luck as you guys go forward.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and ask you about Dr. Halo. Where's he fit into this whole picture? He just came onto the team. Is he calling? Is he just sort of a flank player? Where exactly does he fit?
He is going to be our caller. Tuesday and Monday, some life stuff came up, so he wasn't actually prepped going into Tuesday. We're hoping that tonight will be better. And so once he gets here, we'll start finding some more success.
All right, best of luck again, guys, as that works out for you. Now, before we get started, Viral, is there anything you would like to say to Lost before the battle begins?
I would say have fun, good luck, but he did some smack talking earlier today, and I'm sorry. I just can't give that to you.
All right, Lost, your response.
Hey, sometimes, what did I tell you earlier? Shit. Yeah. Good luck, man. Good luck. I don't fucking remember. I don't remember.
Okay, I think we can.
All right, gentlemen, best of luck before we get into this battle. We'll see you shortly.
Yep.
Oh man, to do that much smack talking and not even remember what you say, that is the next level right there, David. Now, speaking about what Googly was talking about, how you go through the past, you go into the past match that you kind of learn from those mistakes and move on. Is that something that's easier to do while we're talking about this? Let's pull up the rosters between both these teams again. A little bit of changes going through. And David, some of the highlighted players.
Well, the highlighted players for Yo would be Chai Sniper, Fulcrus, and Strikers, the overall point leaders on the team. Now, as I go through these rosters for the rest, I'll qualify that afterwards. For Googlybobbers, it's Zombie Food, Tuxilla, and 7 Tesla. Now, they're a good example. Tuxilla and 7 Tesla haven't played the full breadth of games that the entire team has played. They've come in on different maps and different situations.
Right.
So, as I go through this list, a lot of these people are point leaders or standout players, but they may not necessarily be playing all the time. So, if you're trying to listen to that for fantasy,
be careful.
make sure to do your homework. But they are definitely good players nonetheless.
All right. Now going back to the question of Googly, if you're going to a match, you're struggling a little bit as the season begins. Throughout, not just on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the actual game days, but practice throughout the week. How much does that relate to the actual game days? Are there a lot of similarities? Do things change?
It really depends on who you are practicing.
Okay.
So here's actually a trend between regions regardless of what game you're playing. This is something that's talked about in other games a lot. I won't necessarily reference them. So the battle's going to be starting here, but we can squeeze this out right after that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first battle is underway. Yo versus Googlybobbers, starting it on Sand River. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For Yo, we have 2 Bat Shats, a Centurion Action X, 2 T-22s, and 2 T-54s. For Googlybobbers, a Bat Shat, an Action X, 2 140s, 2 62As, and an RU-251. This should be interesting. But what I was going to say is North American teams have a tendency to attempt to win a practice. That is what they kind of care about the most. Who won, how, whereas European teams and really a lot of other regions focus more on practicing specific mechanics. So practicing against North American teams can often be a troubling endeavor that
Really?
doesn't necessarily help you improve, or that can discourage you from strategies that do work, but the other people are hard countering you because they already know what you're going to do. But we'll talk about that more as things go on. Yo is entirely spotted as they are going hard for the 2-cap.
This is a very aggressive offense on Sand River. Indeed, right now, every single member is lit up, as you guys can see by the yellow above their names. That means they're spotted, lost, and Striker taking the first bit of damage there. They're doing something to Googlybobbers as well. VLM and that Centurion, over 1,100 points of damage. He's going to be going down, the first member falling on Googlybobbers, and now the continuation going on the way through. Valkyrie Viewos now will be going down to Striker, who picks that one up. 2 members down now for Googlybobbers. Yo still has all but right there. 7 Tesla in that Object 140, taking down Bobby in that bat chat. A 1-for-2 exchange now. Fulcros having to back off there, taking some damage too from Viral and 7 Tesla over on this northern cap. They have got it locked down so far. It looks like Yo might be kind of stalling out here, taking a lot of damage onto Andy Pans as well. In that T-54, he is pushing forward. Striker just trying to line up a shot on the reload. Lost, taking tons of damage, and Tuxzilla is going to take him down. That T-54 dropping now for Yo. Googlybobbers gaining that HP advantage, but right as they are Viral taking a huge chunk of damage there, 750, and Andy Pans might be going down, but Ajax finishing off Viral. Luck shot just missing. Tuxzilla is going to pick it up. A 1-for-1 exchange going back and forth between these two teams. Tuxzilla fighting Striker. Yo still though has the HP advantage as Ajax picks up Tux. Chai with 7 Tesla, a 2-for-1 exchange there going back, and now it is 2 for Googlybobbers against the 3 for Yo. As I said, Zombie Food takes down Fulcros. What a crazy battle here, starting out the night on Sand River. Only a minute and a half really has gone by, and Luck just about to be going down, but Zombie Food takes down Ajax, saving him right before he does. It is now all up to Chai Sniper for Yo to pick up these 2 remaining tanks for Googlybobbers, a T-62A and a Bat Chat. And now that the dust is settling, there's chaos and fire all around. David, what in the world just happened there?
Well, Yo went about as aggressive as they felt they needed to in order to try and secure this 2-cap. It's kind of a meta play, expecting teams to set up on that original dune that they originally pushed towards. And it worked out for them for a little bit, but they had problems rotating a little bit out of the way. And Luck is now spotted by Chai Sniper. Oh man, that was
Justin.
This has been a close battle for the past 2 minutes, as Ajax had a moment to take out Luck, which would have made this a 1v1 of Zombie Food versus Chai Sniper, with Chai Sniper a little bit more HP. But Chai now in a 2v1, he's going to have to find and get a pick on Luck, and then have a head-to-head with a favorable situation with Zombie Food to even stand a chance here. He's going to have to drop off the cliff to even get that.
Did he just get tracked there?
Yeah, potentially. You can get tracked going off that, or it can just kind of rock your tank in a very strange way. But he should get Luck here, taking only 1 shot in return. And that puts him relatively even for Zombie Food. It's going to depend on who gets the first shot and where their positions are. Right now, Zombie is actually wide in the open, and if Chai just pushes and finds him, it will be Chai all day. But Zombie could sashay away around that curve, and it will now start tilting back into Googlybobbers' favor, even though Chai is basically 1 shot in the lead. So Zombie Food has to make sure that he hits everything if he wants to stand a chance here, and he has to make Chai miss 1, or he has to get the shot in first.
All right, a very intense situation for sure. The first shot from Chai Sniper missing Zombie Food, so that is 1 check on the checklist.
He cannot afford to miss a single more shot.
Oh, what a terrifying situation to be in right now for Chai Sniper. You now take the first shot there, going into Zombie Food, 381. His gets returned. The shot bouncing for Chai, back and forth. Chai has 1 more. He lets it go, and it looks like, no, he might just be on the reload now. He's decided to save that, not take the final shot, and just reload, trying to buy some time now.
He knew that that shot was it, so he forced a reload while he had the distance before Zombie Food could start driving right at him. Zombie does not know where his clip stands, I think. I think he believes that there is still enough to take him down. And in the meantime, Zombie probably reloading as well. It's hard to tell at the moment. And he's going to just get distance and try and see any situation where Chai is coming in to pick him up. But Zombie spotted Chai, and Chai did not spot him in return. So that's a little bit of bush trickery, it looks like. Not entirely sure. Either way, Zombie Food is going to drive up the 0 line and try and get away from Chai Sniper, and Chai Sniper knows where he is. If Chai can get him right there, he will have him dead to rights.
He is spotted right now. Chai landed the first shot. The first one goes through. 321. Zombie Food, which is 144 points of HP on that bad chat. Now on the run up on top of the hill. Oh man, just a little bit of a bump might set him off as well. He's got to be extremely careful right now driving this Bat Chat. Chai Sniper knows where he is. Not a lot of places that Zombie can go. Now, David, is there a chance that Zombie just jukes him out right now and takes some crazy path, or is it pretty much should Chai know exactly where this Bat Chat is going to be?
Chai has a pretty good idea of where the Bat Chat's going to be. Now, Chai can force him to come to him in a very favorable situation. The best chance that Zombie Food has here is to do basically what he is doing. Go down the 0, come up behind either the 6 or the 7. If he can get around this curve from Chai Sniper, you have to check out there. You can kind of see Chai Sniper through the rock there. He has to get up on Chai Sniper before Chai sees him coming. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Gotcha.
And Chai probably now knows it's going to happen as he is turning around. It's been a while.
Yep.
And this is the smartest play to make in a way, unless you're trying to get meta with it. Zombie is doing the best possible movement here by going all the way around the dune instead of taking the short path to where Chai Sniper is. This is the most likely to catch him off guard, but he still has to hit him more than once. And he has to get in a position where Chai's turret cannot turn all the way around. Chai's starting to get motion to make sure that he cannot be surprised by something like this.
Insane.
And getting even further away now, he's using terrain to take an advantage from anywhere that Zombie might be coming from. Zombie is going to have to baby this first shot if he wants to stand a chance against Chai Sniper. And the best thing he can do is exactly what he is doing. Wait until the clock has run down even further. Get the reset,
run.
Get the reset, and then not run too far.
Okay.
He has to run to a place where he can stop and still shoot Zombie Food if Zombie chases him. If he runs too far, he could drive himself into death. And here it goes.
No!
But Chai sees it coming.
Woo, the second he pops up on that dude, he gets eliminated, and that is going to be the first victory going over to Yo against Googlybobbers on Sand River. What an intense first match. And if the rest can look like this, I'm excited for what this night has in store. Now, I mean, that was extremely close. We got right back down to the 1v1. And like we talked about, Yo going very aggressive on Sand River. You know, something we talk about is a very defensive-heavy map. I mean, I guess that is one way I guess you can break it, is just try to be like, all right, guys, we're going to bank. They're going on to the north. Let's go take them right now. Did you see something in that fight that Yo could have done better? Did you see there's something about the positioning or the focus fire?
Well, once they got their picks in the middle dune area, they should have had a different plan of where to go and readjust. They were very dependent on the Bat Chat to come back into the fight. In the meantime, the other Bat Chat came in and ruined them. Absolutely ruined them. So let's go to statistics while we can.
Let's do it. What a fight.
Obviously, Chai Sniper, 35-26 with 4 kills in his Bat Chat. That is pretty ridiculous. The T-22s, Ajax and Fulcrus, falling in line pretty well there as well. And everybody else mostly down below 1,500. But with Chai Sniper taking all that damage for himself, how are you supposed to find some? It's just not. It's just you just got to learn to share.
You got to share, man.
Now, Lux 62A 2782, Viral 2588, 7 Tesla with 2391. We go all the way down the list here to Zombie Food. He got roughly 2 clips out, 2 kills, so he came in and finished quite a few people there, but 1,400 damage overall. And that last play, I mean, there's a dozen different ways to kind of do what he was trying to do there.
Sure.
At that particular angle, I don't know if that was the best place he could have tried.
Okay.
It had the highest vantage point on all of Cap, which makes it more likely that he will have a shot
Right.
and then be able to get away.
But also get
But
shot.
going uphill like that, with how terrain is laid out, basically he's maximizing the amount of time to which Chai Sniper could have spotted him in return before his gun is even ready to bear. And that's basically what happened. Chai saw the rear of his tank start lifting, swung his turret around and hit him. And Zombie either needed to get in third person and baby a little bit, see if he can get that turret to look at him. There's a variety of different things, but it basically comes down to a really complicated game of rock, paper, scissors. And it's a great play by Chai to even pick that up. Masterful play to even be able to pick that up. And it's just unfortunate. I wouldn't want to be in either person's shoes, and either person winning or losing in that circumstance is entirely normal, entirely acceptable. So that's not anything bad on Zombie's part, just a really great play from Chai Sniper.
Fantastic job indeed for Yo. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're switching sides. Yo is on defense, Googlybobbers on offense. Let's get right into it and see if it's as aggressive as last one. Let's take a look at the tanks.
For Yo, we have 2 215s, 2 E5s, an Action X, 2 430 version 2s. Just 2 everything. Googlybobbers with a bat chat, 2140s, an STB, 262As, and an RU 251.
All right, here now before this one kind of gets crazy underway now, Zombie Food in that bat chat notices when he was coming on top of the hill, he didn't drive with his tank straight up as you know, the forward position. He turned it around
backwards,
and then backed the way up.
It's one of the main ways you want to corner in a bat chat, because then you're only exposing a smaller part of your tank, because the turret's all the way in the back. Right?
Gotcha.
So,
gotcha.
And we can take a look at that tank really quickly, and you can see it's the same thing with a 1390. It's all the way in the back. So same thing with a mouse. Well, not really. A mouse, you want that entire gigantic front in front of you. It's worth it most of the time. I'm not going to get into all the different tanks that have rear turrets, but in the batch chat, that was a very good way of doing it. Just probably not the best place to do it, and there were other paths you might have been able to take that would have been trickier locations to pop up. And there's a certain school of thought that said he may have wanted to keep a lot of energy going into that, a lot of speed, because then he's taking advantage of the turret traverse speed of a bat chat, so he can get around as fast as possible that turret can even turn.
Oh, okay.
So if he came in at the right vector with the right speed, Chai Sniper would not have been capable
of hitting
him.
Wow.
That's just a very risky thing, because that's a two-way street. It's hard for you to shoot at that speed as well. And you don't know where his turret's going to be. If his turret's looking directly at you and you come in at that speed,
whoops,
you have a less likely chance of hitting, and he has a better chance of hitting, honestly. A straight, like we said before, straight line
is rock, paper, scissors.
Are often easier to hit than targets wiggling back and forth.
Totally rock, paper, scissors situation.
Absolutely. And while I can nitpick what Zombie Food did there to death 900 different ways, and I'm sure he's going to do that to himself, or probably at least one person on his team is, the net result of that is, sure, you may have been able to find flaws in it, but you could put anybody in the league in that situation, and 8 times out of 10
do the same thing.
They're going to make a mistake as well, and there's going to be a problem.
Right. Meanwhile, we here have Yo kind of set up 4 members in the CD7 area, sitting up, looking over this northern cap, and now they're just starting to move as they have been spotted. And it looks like they're being spotted by, is that VLM down there? That Object 140 for Googlybobbers? Or no. No, there's a hill right between them. Who's spotting out these members of Yo? Is that Luck?
Would be...
well, it looks like maybe it was Viral, because he's now taking some damage in return there in that STB1.
It could be those guys down there, or it could also be... The RU-251 could be getting spots on from behind.
Oh, gotcha. All right, here. Well, the battle has begun. It looks like Googlybobbers are going over for the southeastern cap.
He is.
It is that one cap here in the bottom right-hand corner. Oh, yeah, let's take a look at that. RU-251 getting those spots off.
He's got binoculars and optics. He's set up in a very particular spot, and they're using the view range and distances to a T to get those spots, as people just barely poke up over the turret. I can't guarantee you the Valkyrie got all those, because the sight lines are a little bit tricky, but he's certainly in position to get at least half of them.
Fantastic situation. They're using that RU-251 as a beautiful scout indeed. So the cap pressure being alleviated for Googlybobbers. They've decided to back off their bat chat. It's being driven again by Zombie Food. Now he's going to start putting pressure back on it. Now looking at this, Sand River, the cap, there isn't a lot of cover as far as on the cap itself. It is just right out in the open. There's maybe a hill right here in the southeastern one. It seems like a very dangerous cap to try to push indeed if the enemy has, a lot of their tanks up, or, all, if not, there it is, Zombie Food getting that reset, 413 points of damage there. You just need one person to spot it, or it looks like just blind fire it, and they were getting those resets quite easily.
Zombie Food wasn't spotted there at all. All they did was just fire into the place that they knew they couldn't spot reliably.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Okay.
Same thing that we see happen on steps all the time.
Right.
There's only a little slice of the cap he could be on, or at least there is a slice of the cap that he's most likely to be on. Now, Zombie Food has now moved to another place, and he's very far out in a tank that has a fairly good camo rating, so he can be ghost-like, very spooky on this cat as you move around, and it's just it's difficult to spot him. So it's not a huge deal for Yo, because they already got one shot on a reset, and they're just bleeding time left and right.
Sure. 3 minutes and 35 seconds now. Over half of the battle is gone. Luck with a nice little shot here through the rocks. I really like his position at T62A, firing up onto Chai Sniper. And that Object 432. It looks like he really can't be hit at all.
Nope. And we've got the 215 Ajax over here, exercising the high rate of fire on that tank to try and blind fire on the cap. And find where Zombie Food is, so it looks like he was using somewhat of a predictable pattern. But he abandoned than that now.
Interesting little bit of damage there going off onto Yo as they push off of that little sand dune they're hiding behind. Going on to 7 Tessa, VLM, Tugzilla, and Viral for Googly. Taking a lot of damage for it and not doing any in return. That's another shot going on to Striker in that 5B, 301, dropping him now below half health. Another shot there, 368. He's just lit up and spotted in the middle. No idea why he came down here. It'll be interesting to kind of just look back and see. 600, one more shot, and he's going down. He's being fired on now by all sides. Bobby also taking damage. 7 Tesla picking that one up. Bobby is sure to be going down soon. 861. Another shot there for 300 and one more, and that is going to end that tank. Tuxilla is going to pick it up, dropping that E5 there for Yo. And now 2 members down on the defense. Googlybobbers still having all their members. Meanwhile, over here down the southeast cap is kind of right in the center of that Dry River's Chai Sniper going head-to-head with Luck. The T62 against the 432. Kind of going back and forth there. Not a lot of members to back up either one. It's just a 1v1 here. Who is going to come out on top? It looks like Luck is a little further behind Chai Sniper. And with that shot, 306, maybe one more from Chai is going to end him. This will be a quick pickup here. No, 304. He has a sliver of HP. 64 left there. One more. Luck comes out on top, taking Chai Sniper down. A huge pickup for Googly. Finally on Andy Pange is going to pick up Luck there. Taking the first tank down for Googlybobbers, but 1 minute and 40 seconds is on the clock. Yo just needs to hold out for that much longer. They are. Googly is putting cap pressure on Lost, taking down 7 Tesla here. It looks like Googly is heading now for the northern cap. They decide to abandon the southeast, bringing that batch head up, doing some good damage there onto Lost. 736 there onto that Centurion. Another shot should be coming any moment now as he tries to get behind cover. 35 seconds on the clock. Googlybobbers here going for the cap, and it looks like Yo might not be in the best position to reset this. It's going to be up to Andy Pans, but VLM, once he joins the cap, he's going to drop that down very quickly. There are just 3 members for Yo against the 5 for Googlybobbers. 13 seconds on the clock. Will Yo be able to get the reset, or will Googlybobbers take this victory, tying it up 1-1? 5 seconds on the clock. Ajax going through. Yo needs to go now. It is now or never. Andy Pans is not going to make it over the side. Ajax is holding a shot. He looks for it. Viral doing a great job blocking it. The shot misses, and Googlybobbers is going to pick up here a victory, tying it up now 1-1 onto Sand River. What an amazing matchup we have here, ladies and gentlemen. The first match, and already so many things are happening. Now, David, let's talk about that one too, because it's starting to seem with these two teams that offense is the way to go. Defense is like, yeah, we'll do defense, but offense is all the way there. One thing that was interesting to me to see what Yo did was sending those 2 tanks down off the Doom, which then just got picked up slowly but surely by Googlybobbers. I don't know. Do you know why they did that? What do you think there was a reason behind it, or was it just, I don't know.
So they expected that most of Googlybobbers were in the southeast, as so many tanks had been spotted there.
Okay.
And Googlybobbers rotated all those tanks away into the southwest and then the west, and they were gearing up to attack into the backside of all those tanks that were on the dune.
Uh-oh.
But Yo wanted to eat up that map control that they thought they had on lock, sent 2 tanks down there, which then drove into a trap. So Googlybobbers' plan probably worked better than expected. I don't know if that was part of it. Perhaps they may have had a bait tank out there that looked like he was kind of alone and then everybody else sprung. I didn't see the exact setup, but there's a good chance that the overall efficiency or efficacy of that strategy was somewhat accidental, but the rest of it was great. It's exactly how it should have been. They're trying to draw attention and more pressure and more tanks into the southeast, and then flank up the southwest and lock them out of that 2 cap exactly like they did.
They did
it's
it
a
well.
great plan, and they executed it well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything as far as stats pointing out? Any highlight players? Just pretty.
Let's go to it.
Let's go to it. Let's go to it.
If you ask my opinion, not a whole lot. And really, it's pretty even damage spreads.
Yeah.
So for your fantasy points, if you're looking for people, Ajax was the lead for Yo, 7 Tesla, the lead for Googlybobbers, followed by Viral, Luck, VLM, Zombie Food, Tuxilla, and Valkyrie. And then for Yo, it's Chai Sniper, Lost, Bobby, and Andy Pants. Full course and Striker all the way down. It's interesting because those 2 were point leaders overall.
Before we actually
for their team.
Before going into this match. Now, I think we're talking about 7 Tessa. I was saying she doesn't play all the maps. She only plays a few. But it seems like the one that she does play, she contributes amazingly.
She seems to be a medium player.
To the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now if you were a team going up against that, trying to like shut them out, would you be like, oh, like 7 Tesla loves Sand River, ban out Sand River, banning out all the ones she's good at? Is that something you waste a ban on?
No, typically, so unless a team is incredibly deadly on a map, and you usually save that kind of thing for a team I wouldn't even say high voltage or noble.
Really?
I mean, perhaps. I mean, like high voltage with mines last season would be a good example.
Oh my gosh.
Or noble with
Oh
Cliff
my
this season
gosh,
around.
yeah.
But overall, you mostly just use your picks and bans to get on maps that you're good at, not necessarily maps that the enemy team is bad at.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's all tied up 1-1, going now back into Sand River, switching sides again. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For Yo, we have 2 bat chats, an Object 140, a T22, T2 T54s for Googlybobbers. They only have 6 players.
Uh-oh.
Somebody didn't ready up to tier 10.
Someone did not ready up quick enough.
Okay, Googlybobbers with the bat chat, an Action X, 2 140s, 2 62As, and an RU251.
So brutal. So brutal.
Yeah. And it looks like they're going to rush again.
Well, I'm assuming that's their best chance right now.
Googlybobbers, well, it's absolutely, I don't know, that's super debatable. But they're doing it either way, and Googlybobbers see it coming.
It's your best chance, yo, go!
Real bad.
It's your best chance. We go the first out there going into Andy Pans, dropping that 1,200 more damage going through. Googly was ready and waiting for this. So much punishment for Yo as they're trying to cross these dunes, taking minimal as possible. Valkyrie in that R251 supporting some covering fire there all the way in that G8 area. Bobby coming to a stop there in that bat chat. Already Yo down to 8,500 points of HP.
Looks like
looks like we're getting right back out of it.
We're going to have to drop that one.
Now I'm not sure if that is going to be. We're getting word that was an illegal lineup coming up. Not sure who it was. David, did you quite see?
Oh, you know what? That would have to be Yo. They have to have 5 tier 5s, and if they brought
5 tier 10s.
5 tier 10s, and if they brought 2 tier 9s, then they
couldn't have had.
And they were missing a tank. Then it would have had to only been 4 tier 10s. We can double check that, but logically, that's what happens.
All right, so there we go. So that is the match they're going over to Googlybobbers. Quick match indeed. There you go. Sometimes they're crazy and intense, and sometimes they're over before they even start.
Well,
literally.
That was over either way.
Right.
That was over either way.
Sure.
The only difference that would have made is for all of our fantasy points.
Yeah. Is there any crazy stats, David?
No. Well, I mean, 8. No.
No, don't even worry about it. Well, there you go. Googlybobbers now going up 2-1 against Yo. A tough break for them. I mean, we have seen last season. I mean, we've seen teams go 6v7 and win. But is it just what they were doing, where they were going, and just the map, or just tier 10s?
They were just completely locked in by Googlybobbers. They had bled so much HP, and they had nothing going for them.
Just a tough situation.
Yeah, they weren't going to play out of that. But so to cover that that rule a little bit more. They have to have
at least
5 tier 10s. Mm-hmm. Now, that's either 5 tier 10s and 2 9s or 6 tier 10s and a tier 8.
Yep.
So, because they brought 2 9s, they're missing a 10. We just covered it.
They're also missing a player. Now, it'll be interesting.
That player's a 10.
Right.
Right. Because it's less than 4. The number of the tier 10 shall be 5. Not 6, not 4, but 5. Actually, 6 does work.
Can work.
Man,
it's okay.
Ruin the whole bit.
We're just throwing it all.
Ruin the whole bit.
Guys, at least 5 tier 10s. There you go.
4 is right out.
That's it. No
That's
4, not 3, not even 2. 1, 0. None of those work, guys. You got to have 5. Now, speaking kind of that format, bringing either 5 and then 2 9s or 6 and then 1 8. Do you think that as the season goes on, it's just going to be like one's just going to be way better than the other, or is it still going to be like each team has a preference? There's going to be uses for both of them.
It depends on the map.
Okay.
And the team that they're playing.
Gotcha.
Personally, I think the double 9s is better the vast majority of the time. But in some maps, the tier 8 is a very useful scout, which can lead to your tier 10s getting more efficient damage, which makes up for the lack of 2 9s.
Gotcha.
It's a dynamic thing.
Well, and explain to me really quickly the difference. Like, what is the gap between a tier 8 and a tier 9 tank in World of Tanks? Just HP damage. Is it pretty huge?
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
It's
pretty huge. 8 to 9 is obviously less than 8 to 10. 9 to 10, I feel like the difference between a 9 and a 10 is a lot smaller than the difference between an 8 and a 9.
Gotcha.
Personally. But obviously 8 to 10 is pretty big.
Massive gap. Probably
pretty big.
Very, very huge gap. The only bigger is maybe like a tier 1 to a tier 10. That's a pretty big gap as well. Now, going into this, we're going to be switching sides again. So that was 07's last time on offense, which, I mean, they did a great job the first time. Didn't quite work out for them the second time. We're going to be switching back on defense, looking at what Googly did on offense there, baiting it out again. Is that something you would personally do twice, or worked once, let's try it again, or is that something you only want to use one time per match and then like try something else?
What Yo was doing and what Googly their response for that?
No. The last time Googly was on offense, baiting them out.
Oh. It depends on exactly how you do it. I mean, you could do the same thing more than once and just modify it a little bit. If the enemy doesn't see what's going on behind the scenes, then it doesn't look like the same strategy to them.
That's true. All right, again, I always think, they do not see what we see here. They see a bunch of blank screens until someone's spotted. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. Googly up 2-1 against Yo and see what we've got for our tanks.
Yo with 2-2-1-5s, 2 E5s, and Action X, 2 430 version 2s. Googlybobbers with 2 E5s, 2 140s, an STB, a 62A, and an AMX 1390.
AMX 1390 being driven now by Dr. Halo. Seeing there going all the way through Tuxilla. Looks like Googly here going off again. Maybe heading out to the same sort of positions there, bringing those 2 E5s. Now that 1390, that is a tier 8. So they're obviously bringing the 610s and the 8 here. It'll be interesting to see where Doctor goes again. You're kind of in the beginning viral saying how last on Tuesday, Dr. Halo might not have been as up to the day as he could have been. Talking about today being a lot more either on point and ready for what's going on, and saying that he is the caller. So we'll see if his improvement overall helps the team. So far they are up technically. So far so good here. And again, Googly heading over to that southeast cap, really not putting anyone up north at all. Last time we saw Yo do this, they did bring that last time we saw them do that, they brought the RU-251, correct? And sent up to that kind of B5, B6 area. Got a really good scouts there on all those members of Yo by the northern cap. This time, not really going for that. They're deciding to just kind of bank all their stuff here in the southeast. And Yo, how quickly can a team go from the north here where Yo's positionings are, and then respond to just a hard rush that Googly is pushing the southeast? Is it pretty easy to traverse this terrain without being punished on your way down?
No, it's not very easy to get anywhere on Sand River without getting punished. If the enemy team has the possibility of shooting you whatsoever, the lines are generally fairly open and fairly long.
Oh, okay. Pretty dangerous to move indeed. Here comes the cap pressure being applied by Dr. Halo there in that 1390. Some shots there going through. Now he is not spotted, as you guys can see. Again, their names will flash yellow when they have been spotted by the enemy team. VLM just barely missing a shot there. Luck is spotted out, however. Looks like it might be Full Crows are lost. Who was spotting him out. Taking some shots there. 414 in that E5. And to kind of move on all the way through. Obviously, getting tracked there. 384. Wow, a lot of damage going into him, or a lot of shots, I should say. Bouncing a couple of those, dropping now down below half, and he has continued to get punished. Meanwhile, Viral right below him, taking some damage as well. 68 seconds on the clock, not too much to deal with. Viral 678. Yo doing a fantastic job finding these tanks, picking them apart there on their way, just kind of finding any sort of cover. Luck kind of dodging back and forth there. Now he was spotted. He wasn't again. Tuxilla in that object 140 is now looking at his position, David, in that F5. Is he just waiting for anyone for Yo to push around? Is he just kind of the spotter for that not to happen?
Exactly. He is the person who's starting to light up Yo as they collapse down the 7 line, and that's exactly what he's there for.
All right, here. Meanwhile, here comes Yo barreling in down to the southeast to try to contest this as they put more members on the cap. They got a shot there going on to more damage going to Viral. Chai, Andy Pans, and Bobby rushing all the way through. VLM takes some damage there. Dr. Halo backing off of the cap, and the first tank to fall is going to be Viral. That STB1 down for Googlybobbers. Yo picking up that damage. Luck though might be falling. Luck picks up Bobby right before he goes down to Andy Pans. Now it's 7 Tesla against Chai and Andy going to a 2v1 here. Lost meanwhile in that Centurion having to back off here. Zombie Food trying to lay down some covering fire in that T-62A. Tuxilla in that 140 picking up Lost. A fantastic job. Googlybobbers trying to claw the way back here. Yo though getting lower and lower. They are though still maintaining that HP lead as Andy Pans taking down 7 Tesla. Meanwhile over on the cap, we have that 5B for Yo going head against a VLM. 1,100, 1,500 points of damage. Tux from the side, taking down Ajax. Full Crows gonna be avenging his teammate there by taking VLM down. Now it's just Zombie Food and Tux for the side of Googly against Full Crows, Andy Pans, and Chai Sniper for Yo. Chai taking a good chunk of damage here, but once he gets over the hill, he should be safe from anything that Tuxilla can be firing at him. Now, David, how safe is it right now pushing up against Zombie Food? I mean, is Full Crows pretty safe? here, E5 against a T62?
He should be. If he can get a track shot, he can definitely win. Plus, he's got Chai Sniper there to back him up. And that one shot Chai just added is everything that Fulcrus needed to close this out. He's somewhat reliable, as Zombie Food is essentially one shot away.
Another shot away. Fantastic pickup there. Zombie Food dropping down 148. One more shell is going to end that man for this battle. And meanwhile, Andy Pans and Tux going head-to-head. And Object 140 against a 432. 320 points to damage there. Finally there, Fulcrus picking up Zombie Food. And now it is going to be Andy Pans running from Tuxzilla, trying to find a little bit of help. Tux wisely backing off there, but he is on offense. So I'm not sure if he could have taken down that tank, he probably should have. Chai, one shot away. Andy Pans, pretty healthy. Fulcrus above half health. Yeah, it looks like Tux with that shot as well. Looks like he is just going to be going down. Yo, looks like they're going to pick up this this victory here. 316 going to Andy Pans. One shot from Chai, just missing. Andy Pans lines a shot up, looks at Tux, takes the shot, finishing up that round. And now Yo tying it up 2-2 against Googlybobbers, ending out the battle on Sand River. We'll be going into our next map very, very shortly. Let's talk about that one kind of right in the beginning. Again, Googlybobbers, last time when they moved to the southeast, they sent that RE-251 to go up and scout to make sure they could see Yo before. This time they didn't do that. What is the benefits and also the detriments to not bringing a scout way up in the north to see what Yo is doing up there on the north cap?
They don't have the vision on the tanks as reliably, or perhaps it just wasn't there to begin with.
Okay. So it's not something that's super detrimental to not bringing it, not working.
They can find other ways of doing it. Tuxzilla's position can spot those people fairly reliably as well. There's a variety of different things to do. So I definitely feel like a tier 9 is a better, or 2 tier 9s are a better selection on this map in particular.
All right. Well, there he goes again. We've tied it up now 2-2. Googly going into Yo. Our next map, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into is Himmelsdorf. Now, again, we talked about Himmelsdorf being a map that is really, yeah, this game is very skill heavy, but the more you can know about Himmelsdorf, the more crazy corners you can find, or the ways a certain tank can be held down behind certain rubble, the better. Looking at these two teams, who would you give that slight advantage to going into Himmelsdorf? Do you think one is more studied than the other? Do you think it's going to be pretty even going back and forth?
So far in tank-on-tank engagements, Yo has been coming out on top. Googlybobbers got them, well, they have 2 wins. One right now is a DQ, and one is a rotation that worked better than I think it probably should have for them. And while it shows a lot of good things going for them, it's hard to make a judgment off that on its own. So far, off the amount of information I have, I'd say it's in Yo's favor going forward, yes.
All right. And then looking at that last match where the pressure was being applied by Googly in the end, Yo doing a fantastic job finding a lot of damage there on those 2 tanks. I can't remember who it was from Googly, but they're kind of out in the open. Luck, I know, was one of them. He was being spotted out there. And there are those rocks that you can get to cover. Why do you think they were just kind of hovering back and forth out in the open? Well, we don't have enough time to answer that question because right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to go into the next battle. Yo versus Googlybobbers on Himmelsdorf. It is all tied up 2-2. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
The answer to your question is probably as simple as it's not as safe as it looks.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
All right.
And now Googlybobbers only has 6 tanks, but luckily for them, or perhaps unluckily
it's illegal.
For them, no, it's not illegal.
It's illegal.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, it sounds the same.
Okay, whatever. They have 5, 10 tanks, and it's totally okay.
Right, it's legal.
And then just no. Okay, so Yo has an E100, 2 215s, 2 E5s, a T22, and an AMX 1390. Googlybobbers has an E100, 2 215s, an IS-7, an E4, and a T54 lightweight, and a very sad-looking hole where a tier 10 tank should be.
Well, what's nice, it's nice that Googlybobbers is kind of doing this, right? They're like, all right, Yo, this happened to you guys. Now we'll give you guys your battle back. It's like tank etiquette.
I'm sure.
Tank etiquette is what they're doing.
It is just honor amongst players.
Starting out here, it's going to be a tough hill to climb for Googly indeed. Lost going head-to-head against BLM. A very aggressive scout run indeed. Shots there going out between both of them. Changing a little bit of damage, but Lost there coming out on top. A little bit of slide coming out for that T54 for Googlybobbers, and now he is on the run. Both still spotted, but more damage definitely going onto the side of Googly than onto the side of Yo. Already not even a minute in the battle. We got a little scout action going on. Now, here's the deceptive thing, right? If you're Yo, they're a tank down. You're like, oh, this should be a super easy win. But you could throw this in a sense. There is definitely a way to throw a battle like this. Because one tank out, you do something, a mistake, you get a tank deleted for free, and now you've evened it up a 6-on-6. So they still have to be careful. They still have to, play this pretty methodically. Obviously, there's a lot less pressure on them, but is that a danger that can happen that can like sink into a team's mentality of, oh, it's easy, we got this win, and then just start doing things that you normally wouldn't have done, or are these guys just so far beyond that?
It's definitely a factor. There are situations where the level of embarrassment you would feel or that you are afraid of possibly happening to you from losing to a team down a tier 10 like that can actually create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it just depends. If Googlybobbers is able to kind of put the screws to them at some point and make them feel that threat, then Yo could decompose. It's not out of the question.
Well, we will see if that is the case as Bobby and Ajax not quite putting on that cap pressure yet. It's just that E100 there for Yo, applying it in the northern cap, the number 2-1 you guys see on the bottom right corner of your screen. 75 seconds, and it's going to be Luck and his E100 now pushing up very aggressively. Coming up on the way, followed by Tuxzilla in that 5B. A shot there going out between the I7 and the E5. And now Luck coming around the corner. He's going to find Bobby. They are proxy spot now. Full cross in the back. Might be coming up on the VLM. A huge chunk of damage there. Going in 454. Actually, I shouldn't say huge. It's just that gun. Every time it's fired, just sounds like a beast. It's just like an artillery shot going off.
It's certainly an ominous cannon sound.
Oh, man. Damage are going up on top of the hill, or coming down from the hill, I should say, for Yo, as that is lost in that 1390 up there, doing as much covering fire as you can. 80 seconds on the clock. We've got Ajax putting on the pressure now, along with Bobby as he's scooting up forward, dropping it now finally to 37 seconds. Shots going back and forth between these two E100s. Not a single one connecting for either of them. And Japan's there, rushing on the way up. Now he's going to join Cap. He's going very aggressive there, and he's getting lit up by Tuxzilla and 7 Tesla having to back up now. Looks like they're going for Luck, not expecting the backup there. 54 seconds, 27 going back and forth on the Cap. Googlybobbers getting those resets where they can, but it looks like this is the fight that Yo now is in, whether they wanted to or not. Bobby getting extremely low, 775 points of damage there. Another shot for Luck, nothing connecting, but man, does it sound crazy. Tuxzilla taking down Bobby. Lost finding VLM, a 1-for-1 exchange there. Luck taking a huge chunk of damage from the side. Ajax, another shot going in, and Andy Pants is going to finish that one off. The E100 falling. Googlybobbers now down to 3 members as Dr. Halo gets taken down by Chai Sniper. 7 Tessa finding another kill, trying her best to keep her team in this battle, but there's 5 members of Yo against just the 3 of Googlybobbers. 40 seconds on the clock. It is now 7 Tesla and Tux on top of the Cap. Zombie Food does find full gross as it comes all the way through that E4. A huge shot there going up, and 7 Tesla is going to be falling for Chai Sniper, which is a huge alleviation there coming up for that team. Yo now at 4,900 points of HP against Googly with 36, now 32. Tuxzilla does find Striker. That 5B going down. Googlybobbers doing a great job actually staying this as long as possible. They're trying to claw their way back. 30 seconds. Tuxzilla will be falling though very rapidly as Lost is being bullied now by Zombie Food. That E4. Ajax picking up that 5B. And now it is a 3v1. Ajax going in for the ram damage. 296 going through. Lost taking a little bit. Chai Sniper applying that cap. But Yo knows it's all over. They just need to take out this E4. That is going to finish off the match. 309, 691. And finally, I'm assuming it's going to be coming up. No, Lost just barely misses that. Ajax picks up that one. And Yo is going to win this battle now, increasing their lead 3-2 against Googlybobbers in our first match of the night. Would you say that got closer than it should have at the end?
Yes.
Okay. Because that was very close.
That's probably the only thing I could say about that. I spent most of that entire match just wondering
why
or why.
Fair
Even
enough.
more
Fair
how.
Enough. Fair enough.
There's so many bounces, so much.
Yeah. The game was like Googly was doing.
It was messy.
Yo, a solid.
It was super messy, but it worked.
Yeah.
In the long run, it worked.
Good job. Good for Yo there.
Let's go to stats.
Okay, let's check it out. Maybe that can decipher some of the mystery. No?
There's no mystery to it. I mean, we saw exactly what happened. I still just, it takes time to comprehend such a thing. Ajax with 36-58. We got a timeout from Yo. That's interesting. This right here. You can take a screenshot of this. This would summarize this round to me.
Okay.
The 1390 almost did 3,000. He shot more than 2 clips.
Times.
14 shots
Oh
and penetrated
my
a full
gosh.
2 clips of damage for 3,000 damage. This is like E100s just bouncing off of each other, which it's hard for me to comprehend. 215Bs bouncing off each other, all sorts of stuff. And then Lost over here in the 1390 is penetrating with a 90mm gun in a Tier 8 tank. It summarizes the whole round for me.
See, that makes more sense.
Tuxzilla, FE215B, 3777. We'll hold that thought.
Yeah.
Zombie Food did a great job as well, 2914. 7 Tesla, 2565. Wow, I thought she was only going to play mediums, but she is here in a 215B and doing a pretty good job as well. Really, I mean, I'm dumbfounded by a lot of what was happening on Yo's side. For GoBob's side, for Googlybobbers, it's just like that worked. Like I probably may not have even bothered trying to angle my armor at that point. It's like, no, it's going to get penetrated. I need to keep my tracks facing a direction I can get moving faster. And then they would wiggle and it would bounce, and I was just sitting there totally confused.
Maybe they found the next level strats. No one knows.
I cannot make any more comments along this line. What was the thought that you had?
Oh, no, I was saying that just makes more sense to me, because at first when I look at that battle, I'm like, oh, yeah, it was just kind of crazy. Got really close. The fact that you're saying like E100 should not be bouncing, that fact 1390 should not be penetrating like that. It was just a crazy battle.
That was the weirdest part for me, is E100s bouncing heat off each other's face. It's like they weren't shooting each other's face. I don't know.
Yeah, just a weird battle.
We can go with lag. We can go with, they're just so good they made them bounce. But
well, here's the thing. Googlybobbers, again, they were doing Yo a solid right there, bringing only 6 members, and the game was like, all right, since Googly's doing a solid, we'll do.
If Googly had a 7th player there, they would have won that.
They would have won that.
They probably would have won that.
Oh, so far we've seen 2 5 or 6 v7s, obviously going into the favor of the 7s, but right there, a very close battle indeed. That should not have been so close. But that's the thing of this game, right? RNG is crazy. RNG can make a game like that, and it just blows your mind because it doesn't make tons of sense.
It doesn't make that much of a difference in the fight we were just looking at.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you that.
Oh.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
What?
There would be circumstances where we could talk about that, but at that distance.
RNG's no factor? Wait, so it really was just bizarre. All right, great.
Yeah, it didn't look like Yo. And I mean, Yo is not a team and that's why it confuses me. You know, if perhaps this were a team known for just not being able to penetrate their shots, I would be like, okay, well, there's that team being that team again. Sure. This is Yo, and they usually shoot really well. So I feel comfortable spending this entire break pretty much bagging on them for missing
let's just forget all about it, because, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into the next one. Yo versus Googlybobbers. Yo is up 3-2. On to Himmelsdorf. We're switching sides. Let's get into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
If we're going to get fired for any break, it's going to be that one. Yo with 2 IS-7s, 2 E5s, a W100, an STI, T54. Googlybobbers with E100, 2 215s, an IS-7, an E5, an E4, and an AMX. 1390. Both teams have brought 7 tanks. There are 14 tanks on the battlefield.
Oh, that's the highlight of this first match.
I am pumped to see what happens here. Now we have GoBobs starting to roll down the 8 line. It looks like they're going to bring everything.
Wow.
They're going to hit him hard. I mean, after that last fight, I would definitely be far more open to a strategy that just involves putting tanks on tanks.
Sure.
Because when it came to the tank on tank, Googlybobbers definitely won that last round.
All right, see if they can kind of try to carry that momentum over from what we just saw into this one. Now, this is an interesting position that this 1390 VLM is getting into. It's almost like the reverse of that F7 position we see the scouts on the defense get to try to find members going on the 8-line push. We haven't seen a single member from Yo. They're all sitting back. They're sending one member, it looks like, up on top of the hill. That member is Andy Pants in that T54 VLM, now being spotted out by Full Crows, spotting him as well.
This is very, very, very bad for Googlybobbers and so good for Yo. So mind-blowingly good for Yo. The only thing the Googlybobbers could do here that would actually help is if they manage to just drive all the way over to the 3 column and make that fight happen. Because otherwise, they're going to have a W100 behind them, along with a T54 on top of the hill. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse the more they step into this pocket. If they get into that normal 2-cap pressure situation that we've seen 100 times, you remember how sometimes you get that flanker from defense that goes all the way from the K line to the 0 line and comes in and shoots somebody from behind?
Yes.
Yeah, well, this time it would be a W100. Yeah, exactly. Just immediate laughter. Exactly.
Yay!
Exactly.
I want to see it.
If I were on Yo's team right now, I would already be laughing that we have a W100 on hill at all.
Gotcha.
It would just be like, this game is over, boys.
This is gonna
just
be.
wait.
This is
Just
gonna be
wait.
fun.
They're either going to show up crossing the 3, in which they get lit up, or they're going to show up in the 2 cap, in which they get lit up. Either way, it's going to be a miracle if Googlybobbers can fight their way out of this. But then again, after what we saw last round, anything is possible. Anything is possible. VLM in that 1390. Actually, it wasn't VLM that did it last time.
No. No.
It was Luck.
Was Luck?
Whatever. Doesn't matter. One of the 1390s.
We'll see if the 1390 can do it again.
I don't know why you take out 1390 that did 3,000 damage.
Yeah, it worked out for you. Luck is spotted out there in that E100 top of the hill. The first shot from the IS-7 Ajax, 492. Here comes Bobby from the back. The first shot going in, 634 points of damage into Zombie Food. And the battle being pushed up against VLM. He is now going down. Rest in pieces. Chai Sniper finishing off that 1390. Already Googlybobbers a tank down.
Well, so we got some issues here. W100 shot a little bit early. Had a chance to really make a big impact on the fight. Now Googlybobbers knows where it is, and they're going to try and leave this fight entirely, from what it looks like. And as they're doing so, they're going to take damage. W100 is going to try and drive perhaps on top of hill, probably be the best location for him at this point. He either needs to go up or come down. He's not most of the time where he is right now.
Lost.
In the meantime, Yo trying to lock down the 5 line and prevent Googlybobbers from escaping.
Lost doing a good chunk of damage there in that ST1. Dr. Halo backing off in that IS-7 getting dropped at 1,100 points of damage. Well, another shot going through 418. He hasn't returned a single one so far. Bobby not actually going top of the hill. He decided to come back down. Chai Sniper taking down Dr. Halo. That's another tank there falling for Googlybobbers. Getting worse and worse indeed. They are on offense.
Googlybobbers beginning to drive in the courtyard, then pulling out. Right here, this is kind of the situation in the scenario I was talking about. Perhaps the W100 being on top of the hill would be nice, because as Googlybobbers inevitably go west, there would be a point in time where they either need to cross the 3 or the courtyard.
Okay.
And during that period of time, the W100 would be able to get its shots back in. Yo right now needs to start rotating to the west. They already know the Googlybobbers are going there. They saw them.
Right.
They got 2 tanks out of it. So they can just continuously stuff Googlybobbers for the rest of the round, expand this lead 4-2, provided they get some sort of motion going right now. But they are quite a bit stagnant. That actually may be working in their favor, because it looks like Googlybobbers are going to go back and
try it again. Maybe, okay, I was just going to ask. Like,
some people do this. Some
game?
callers do this. I've always, the first time it was ever described to me was by my clan leader at the time. And he was describing actually somebody who would end up being on my team. Friction's, one of Friction's plays that he liked to do.
Okay.
And it was show your force, take it away, and show it again. That is all he described it as. And then there was another one, which is, show your force, take it away, and put it someplace else. Those are 2 pretty basic things, right?
Look, Yo's moving.
And in this case, Googlybobbers.
Wow.
Well, no, see, here's the thing, is Yo knows where Googlybobbers are still, to a certain extent. They probably don't expect them to be back in the Northeast again, because most people won't, especially if you didn't get any vision on them at all. But they do understand that they have all the positions they need to lock down both 1 and 2 again.
Sure,
so
gotcha.
really,
we're just going to reset.
Really, that made very little difference to Yo. And it was a nice attempt, I suppose, by Googlybobbers to kind of loosen the knot, as we talked about in the past. But not enough.
Here we go.
Luck taking 1 shot away from the W100. Bobby taking some fire in return, nothing penetrating, and he's just going to back off. But everybody knows he's there now, and they're going to keep their eyes focused on him. So the big question is, what will Yo do next?
87 seconds on the clock, 2 minutes overall. Googlybobbers has to do something within those 2 minutes, either take down all of Yo or successfully cap one of the 2 bases. It looks like the northern base is what they're going for. The T-54 for Yo. Andy Pan's coming back now. He was on top of the hill doing a good amount of spotting. 2 members now being put there. Zombie Food and the D4 getting ready to fire onto Bobby if he pops out at all. Andy Pan's doing a drive-by, takes the shot, just barely missing it. 30 seconds on the clock. Looks like Striker, they're coming around, finds the reset, taking the shot there onto Viral. Clock now at 30 seconds. There it goes, getting reset back up. 48 seconds now, and the battle looks like might be it right now. This is Yo coming around the side. They're flanking the members of Googlybobbers all of the northern cap, and it looks desperately horrible for Googlybobbers. Luck going down to Bobby, picking up that shot. Another shot, 1,140 points of damage there. Andy Pan's finishing off Zombie Food. in that E5. Viral there, taking some 442 points of damage in his E5. 7 Tesla finding full course again, doing a lot of damage there. She's doing a fantastic job in that 5B, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. They're the only 2 remaining members. Chai Sniper takes some damage. 7 Tesla bouncing a shot. Tuxzilla going down to Chai. 7 Tesla being the only member alive. Her only hope is to farm some fantasy points for anyone that put her on the team. Chai Sniper might be your best bet to take down. Just takes 461 there onto Andipan. Striker coming around from the back. 45 seconds on the clock, and Yo is going to take this victory, increasing their lead now 4-2 against Googlybobbers, needing now just 1 more victory to close out our first match of the night. And if you're looking at what Googlybobbers did there, going up the 8-9, or the 7-8, trying to pressure anything, not working out, taking a lot of damage, backing off. Talking about the E100 up on top of the hill. That would be nasty to come around and flank him from the back. To eliminate any of that happening, if you are Googlybobbers, what is the main problem with taking all of your tanks, all 7 of them, and just pushing up and over the hill and then coming down the northern cap? Because you're getting rid of any sort of pressure that's up there, but what are you exposing yourself to, I guess is the question, if you did do that?
Did do that after they originally made their push?
No, I mean right
or
in the beginning.
From
the beginning.
They're just locking themselves into a particular vector. We've seen teams do it in the past. Teams have been fairly successful with it as long as they have certain finesse in certain places, and they know where they're going to go if they get stuffed.
Gotcha.
That's pretty much it. But that's it.
Right. So yeah, you're kind of constraining yourself to, if things do go bad, not a lot of options to get out of there.
Yep.
All right. No, that makes sense why they
Let's go to stats while we can.
wouldn't do that.
So the W800 Bobby did get in 3,000 damage. The STI lost, got in 2,700. Really, everybody besides Folker's breaking 1,500, but that's not necessarily his fault. All I'm saying is a nice equal spread between all of Yo, and not so much on Googlybobbers, with 7 Tesla taking the overall with 2,400 damage, and Tuxzilla behind her with 1,600, both in the 215Bs.
All right, well, seems again, ladies and gentlemen, if 7 Tesla, or I said if Googlybobbers is playing, 7 Tesla might be a good member to put on your team to farm those points, even when they are behind. She does as much damage as possible.
If I know she was going to play every game, I'd definitely pick her.
All right, well, there you go, guys.
Sometimes she doesn't.
That's true. That is the risk. Again, fantasy, anything can happen. We are getting ready for our next battle on to Himmelsdorf. Yo just needing 1 more victory to pick it up and end the first match of the night. Will they take it, or can Googlybobbers come back? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For Yo, we have an E100, a 215B, an IS-7, 2 E5s, a T-22, and an AMX 1390. For Googlybobbers, an E100, 2 215s, an IS-7, an E4, a W100, and an AMX 1390 as well. Both teams just going with 1 tier 8. This is a map where I agree with that. With 1 tier 8 over 2 tier 9.
Gotcha.
Defense is a little bit different, as the STI is a great tank, so I can kind of see that done in certain situations. But I like I think you can use a lot of the old meta on Himmelsdorf as long as you bring in tier 8.
Okay.
And it's in the right hands. If I didn't have a very reliable tier 8, then I would definitely go with the 2 tier 9s every time.
All right. Now looking at what Googlybobbers is doing, bringing 2 tank destroyers. What is...
Yeah, we might have a fight.
Here we go. Dr. Halo and lost 2 1390s now spotting each other out. Some damage are going to Striker as he crosses. Dr. Halo getting safe there.
Lost backing out of that one. He did have Dr. Halo dead to rights for a moment, and he backed off, concerned about what could possibly be behind him. This is a very forward place for a 1390.
We've never seen a 1390 there.
No, because I mean, if you can hit it at all from up there, it will die. You're not going to bounce armor off of it, or bounce off of its armor like the IS-3, the IS-7. But it does have mobility, so he is trying to slip out right now. And it does look like he's got a bit of a view range game going on against these 3 tier 10s. Interesting. They are now spotted though, so what Dr. Halo does from here in order to respot them, or if he leaves, will be a kind of a nice little lesson for all of us here. He is exercising view range, and I believe his binoculars, if he has them. Nope, just optics. So he's just rocking back and forth here, trying to get spots on all those tier 10s down there as they move around. I guess he's done the math, and he knows he has a better view range than all of them with optics and everything he's got. So he can keep him spotted. Or maybe it was the E4. Hard to say. Both capable of it.
All right, here now, if that 1390 was able to get those spots, I mean, that might be a great new position that we can be seeing for a scout tank to get. Normally we see them kind of go up into the edge of the courtyard there in that F7 position and try to get the proxy spot, but that seems like a much safer place to be if you can get it. VLM now going head-to-head against Striker in these IF7s. 5 minutes and 46 seconds on the clock. First shot there going out onto VLM. Not the first shot onto him, because he is now dropping very low in that IF7. 1,200 points of damage there. Dr. Halo now finally on the run, it looks like. No, he might be kind of repositioning himself here. Godzilla 7 Tesla pushing forward. Yo, spread it out. Looks like they're going, possibly going for this, wow, actually, Yo all over the map, David. Right now they're sending 2 members up north, coming flanking around the rest of the members of Googlybobbers. Right now, VLM and Zombie Food are in trouble, getting flanked by Yo. 2 shots there going into Zombies for 752 points of damage, which is going to force them to try to move forward into oncoming fire and get to the courtyard, if at all possible. Over 1,000 there, getting tracked. 392 on the VLM, and Ajax picking up that kill, dropping that IS-7 there. The first tank falling for Googlybobbers, and Yo, it looks like this was a trigger that they were looking for. Now collapsing down to Zombie Food. A shot even coming in from Lost there in that 1390. Bobby picking up. Meanwhile, we've got a little bit of some damage going off. Luck taking those shots there into the courtyard. Just missing there. More damage going on to Chai Sniper and full course against Tuxzilla and 7 Tesla. But with 2 tanks down for Googlybobbers, Yo being up 2. This opens up the map for some amazing plays. Lost, they're going to make sure he can get all those proxy spots onto 7 Tesla. Lining up a shot there, possibly on the Dr. Halo, who is 1 more shot away from going down. Yo pushing across the courtyard, and this could be it, ladies and gentlemen. This could be the win that Yo needs to close out the night against Googlybobbers here. Dr. Halo backing off. He is in a lot of trouble. 1 more shot, and he's going to be going down. Just 26 points of damage there left on that 1390. And Ajax very aggressively running into Tuxzilla, taking the shot, getting behind cover, making his turret turn every which way. And Yo barreling down now against 7 Tesla and Tuxzilla. 653. Lost and Chai going to be picking up those 2 kills. Tuxzilla and 7 Tesla are down with just Dr. Halo, Viral, and Luck alive for Googlybobbers, and I'm confident to say that this match is going to be going over to Yo as Bobby picks up Luck. They're putting cap pressure on. Viral by himself, being surrounded by 4 members now, getting covering fire by 2 more. And it looks like the T-22 medium Ajax has been sent to hunt down Dr. Halo. Andy Pans finds that one. Viral now is going to be no, he's not going to help at all. Ajax picks up Dr. Halo, and that is going to be Yo's 5th and final victory there against Googlybobbers to finish out our first match of the night. Now, that was interesting to see because it looked like Googlybobbers just stalled out for too long, having no pressure on top of the hill, allowing Yo to come up and around him, which is something we don't really see a lot. Why don't we see that as much? Why don't we see the offensive team really splitting up and sending some forces to flank around, drawing the defense into 2 areas of the map?
Defense usually isn't as proactive to try and shut things down directly in the 8. They usually don't separate as much. So there's a capability in the defensive strategy to get around them like that. The other factor is usually teams are just too afraid. I would be very uncomfortable to split that much with that many tanks on Himmelsdorf.
Gotcha.
It's too easy for the enemy team to just take their tanks and drive them someplace and kill everything else you have in separated prongs. But the way that Yo did that against Googlybobbers in that situation was great. I'm not hating on anything they did there.
Sure.
And it was very good calling and good strategy overall.
All right, there it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Yo picking up the first victory of the night, finishing off match number 1. Don't go anywhere. Match number 2, Eclipse versus Ping 999, coming up right after this.